Which is a shame because they've missed something pretty exciting from Mark Webber. He was setting the pace in practice for most of the day. In fact, up until 2.5 minutes to go in the final session, when he then lost it, obviously, with idiots like that hanging around. But yeah, he lost it to McLaren's Lewis Hamilton, who has pipped him with the fastest lap time of the day.
Single mother of 2 boys with autism has been voted Victoria's #1 mum.
It's an award that recognises those responsible for raising future generations. Connor and his 11-year-old brother Ryan were diagnosed with high-functioning autopsy as toddlers.
No wonder Connor and Ryan's mum won an award. Getting the boys into such good shape after high-functioning autopsy must have been pretty hard. Hello and welcome to Media Watch. I'm Monica Attard. That was obviously a slip of the tongue from reporter Martine Alpens. Some slip-ups are just oversights, like this one, the night after a Sydney ferry collided with a pleasure boat.
3 dead and a teenager missing. Australia's ice skating community devastated by the accident.
9 News led its bulletin that night with 4 stories about the disaster. Then, in the first ad break, this.
The Republican field in the race to be a US president has missed out narrowly. Mitt Romney has dropped out.
She means the Republican field has narrowed because Mitt Romney has dropped out.
His decision makes it more likely Senator John McCain will become the Republican nominee.
She means Senator John McCain.
And Hollywood superstar Angelina Jolie has made a surprise visit to Iraq to demand help for the 2 million people displaced by the war. The UN Goodwill Ambassador has had lunch with American troops before meeting with their top commander, General Peter Petraeus.
That would be General David Petraeus. Welcome to Media Watch. I'm Jonathan Holmes. Everyone makes mistakes, but 4 in under a minute? At least 9's Monica wrong. I'm sorry, that should be 7's Monique right, pronounced Angelina Jolie correctly.
It's hoped sweeping changes to Australia's margin lending practices will avoid a repeat of the Storm financial saga. Now, under the new legislation, lenders will be required to alert investors of the need to top up their... Far out, what happened with that?
It's cold comfort, unfortunately, for those Storm investors, but, you know, the fact is...
No, but I couldn't read anything.
These are terrible now, aren't they? You just don't know where you are nowadays with these. You know, with all this stuff.
It's hoped sweeping changes to Australia's margin lending practices.
Coming up in SBS World News Australia at 9:30, anti-government protesters in Thailand have ended their siege of government buildings in Bangkok. The Thai army has been cracking down on the protesters with at least... Are we going to get some pictures?
Mad Men, Thursday, 8:30 on SBS.
Is looking towards the future, you know.
Raina was hunting for Barrow Island on the map.
Yeah, so I just need to say if it's north or west.
Yeah.
North? Well, I haven't got that.
Saved, a gripping new Australian feature starring Claudia Carvin.
A former High Court judge says he advised businessman Richard Pratt he'd avoid costly litigation and further bad publicity.
We believe, on advice that's given to the government, there'll be sufficient power
tonight. Well, today was every bit as hot, but not quite as windy as expected.
It's all about studio automation and a whiz-bang computer system called Ignite that theoretically allows one studio director to do about 4 people's jobs. Theoretically. Just teething problems, ABC management assured us. I said then we could expect sore gums elsewhere in the country soon, and sure enough, last Wednesday night, it was Sydney's turn to come unstuck.
Good evening, Juanita Phillips with ABC News.
Right as the government cranks up its broadband cell...
Greg Jennett's political rap led the bulletin. It went smoothly enough, except for a complete lack of name supers to tell you who was who.
We are conducting an independent investigation and people should not be smeared as part of that process.
Who was that? Haven't a clue. Then, in the middle of a story about a police raid on an illicit amphetamine lab, disaster struck.
It's a very, very dangerous procedure. It takes a long time to dismantle and these sorts of labs.
Police say the drugs made here were headed across the...
The awful silence and the black screen lasted 47 seconds, an eternity in television time. And when at last life returned to the screen, who should pop up but...
Barack Obama has wound up his first overseas trip as US president with...
Yes, it was Hendo, Melbourne to the rescue. Unfortunately, after President Obama in Iraq, came a long and, to New South Wales viewers, incomprehensible report about former Victoria Police Union boss Paul Mullett. Then, happily...
Well, we're back, and I do apologise for temporarily going missing. Moving on with the bulletin now.
But the problems continued. The name supers in the next item were all over the place, and then viewers were treated to a repeat of President Obama in Iraq.
Even though he's pleaded guilty to a raft of charges during his career as a pedophile, Alan Guy found it difficult to admit to his criminal past today. I had to confess, he maintained, due to circumstances beyond my control.
Good evening and welcome to Avalon, to the Australian International Air Show, where the gates open. Well, weather-wise, today's been a fine day in Tal, although very, very steamy indeed. Basically what we've got there is just a few showers and storms over the southeast corner of the state. There's a cold front gradually closing in. That system As for Melbourne, rain developing in the morning, chance for thunderstorm, easing to showers later in the day.
Money's being thrown around in Melbourne this weekend. We'll go to the Formula One Grand Prix in just a moment.
Will that be the race where you're really looking forward to the checkered flag?
From mile high to rock bottom, a former Qantas hostie has revealed more about the turbulence surrounding her dalliance with actor Ralph Fiennes. In an exclusive interview, Lisa Robertson sets the record straight about several rumours.
We thought we knew it all. The 38-year-old Qantas hostie sacked for joining the Mile High Club.
That's probably the biggest misconception about me, that I've made all this money out of this incident, and really I haven't got any money from the Mail on Sunday, 60 Minutes.
So with no job...
Channel 10 Melbourne tells us the technical gremlins were to blame for that abrupt ending. But was 10's Melbourne newsreader uncomfortable with the spicy exclusive? Well, perhaps yes, given this a little later on in the same bulletin.
Thank you, Mike. And coming up, the call to take cough medicines for toddlers off the shelves. And is homework like that hostess story really a waste of time?
US pop singer Lionel Richie entered court in Glendale, California, on the arm of boyfriend Joel Madden.
I thought Lionel Richie was a black guy. Just asking.
No. Hopefully they'll actually force feed her while she's in there to make her, put on some weight.
I'm just concerned about the colouring.
Oh, well, no.
Okay.
No, I'm not sure there's any doubt.
Rain is light at this stage, and there is a bit of chaos in the city because all the traffic lights are out in the central business district.
Except for those apparently perfectly functional ones just a few metres behind you, Angela.
You've got to admire this lady, Jill Hicks from South Australia, who's lived in England for many years. You may recall she was one of the victims of the London bombings, the underground rail bombings. She lost both of her legs. She's been chosen to run today too, and her leg is coming up very, very soon along that main avenue.
The excitement must be building there. This time tomorrow night they'll be lighting the cauldron. Is there any word yet as to who'll be doing that?
Well, we've had, there's been rumours rife of who it will actually be. Now, hang on, I've actually got, someone passed me this a second ago. I can look it up. One of our staff managed to find out on the internet here that there's Liang Jing, who is, hang on a second, I'm sorry, I've lost his name here.